Hi everyone, welcome to Recitation 11. And before this recitation, I would like to say something about the exam 2. I know that some one of you didn't submit or finish the exam 2 correctly, but don't be too sad about this. You still have got the second chance to compensate for this. If you have a higher score in the final exam, and that grade will replace the grade of exam 2. Okay, so let's come into our recitation 11. During this recitation, would like to talk about some functions used in the spreadsheets. And before this recitation, you also need to download the file, which is also within Canvas files tool, and the folder is recitation information by sections folder, and our section number is 6 and 33. And in this folder, you need to download the file called example2. Okay, once you download this, you need to open this with Excel software. Today we have 22 tasks to finish, so you can just click stop for this video and then work on the task and then restart this video and do the next task. Okay, so the first task is for the title and the date, which is very simple. You just within the cell of B1, you need to add your name right here. For me, it's Weizhi. And for the cell of B2, you just use the today function, which is equal today, and just press tab, and it will add the date for today automatically, which is on April 6th. Okay, so this is the task 1. The next task is to compute the sales tax, gross income, net income, and need to recorder columns. First is the need to recorder columns. Right here, we need to use a function which is if. The if function is used to decide something. For this column, which means that if the D5, which is buckets in stock, is smaller than 20, and then we need to do the recorder. So, which is if, and the first is the condition, which is D5, the cell of D5 smaller than 20, and the first value should be yes, and second value should be no. Oh, sorry. Okay, and also we need to use the autofill to fill in the next following cells. Okay, so the next job is to compute the gross income. Gross income equal to, the gross income should be equal to price times number sold. For this should be B5 times C5, right? So it should be B5 times C5. And also we need to use the autofill to fill in the next following items. And for the sales rate, which should be equal to rate times the gross income, and the rate is written within G1 cell, and the rate is 9%. And because the rate is fixed, we need to use the dollar symbol like this to fix this, which is G1, and multiple gross income, which should be G5, right? And also we need to use the autofill, and the net income equal to gross income minus sales tax, which should be G5 minus H5, right? Equal to G5 minus H5. Okay, so we also need to set the format for all of these items. Just right click on the selected cells and click the format cells and choose currency, and we use two decimal places and the symbol is dollar. Okay, so we have done the second job. The next task is to try the function of round. For example, if we do not use this format, use the currency format and the two decimal places, we can also use the round function, which should be round, and we use the brackets to contain the result, and the number of digits is 2. Okay, so we can also use the round function to just estimate the decimal number to 2 decimal points. Okay, so this is how we use the round function. We can use round function or the formatting cells to set the format for the number of digits. Okay. Okay, let's come into the task 7. Task 7 asks us to fill in the column totals computation, which is from B16 to E16. So for B16, which is very easy, equal to sum, and you select the range, which is from B5 to B40, and press tab, and you can use autofill to fill C16 and D16. And for this one, for this cell, we would like to compute how many yes uh, for this purpose, we need to use a function which is called countif. So this one should be equal to countif, and the range is from E5 to E14, and the value is yes. So if we use the countif function to count how many yes is within our range, so right now the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, which is corresponding to our computation. This is the seventh task. And for task 8, we need to compute the median and maximum and minimum of these three columns. Which should be equal to the function we use is median, and the range is from B5 to B14, and for this one, it should be max, and range is the same. This is the function is mean, and the range is also the same. So we use autofill to fill in the next following items. Okay, so this is the task 8. And let's come into the task 9. Task 9 asks us to compute how many items with values for this column. And also we need to compute how many items with numbers only and how many items with text only. So for the first subtask, which is compute the number of items with values, both text and numbers. So we need to use a function which is your count a. Uh, the Excel software reminds us that this function is for counts the number of cells in the range that are not empty. Okay, so this function is count a. and you need to select the range, which is from B5 to B14. Okay, so uh, this function returns the value of 10, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is corresponding to our res result. Okay, so the next job is to compute number of items with numbers only. So the function is count. Uh, the software reminds us that count function counts the number of cells in a range that contains numbers. So the range is also the same. Okay, so the returned result is also 10. The next job is to compute number of items with text only. For this one, we also need to use a function we have already used, which is countif, but the parameter is different. Uh, in task 6, the parameter is yes, but for this, the parameter should be just a star to represent all the text. Okay, so we need to use countif function, and the range is b5 to b14, and we use a star to represent all of the text input, and the computation result is 0, which is correct. Okay, you also need to use the autofill to fill in all the 4 columns. I think that the function is correct. For these 3 columns, the value is correct, 310. And for this one, on number of items with text only is 10, which is also correct, right? And the last task for spreadsheet of flow shop sales is to change the landscape mode. For this spreadsheet, it's clear that the width is much larger than the length. So we would like to uh, change the orientation for this spreadsheet. So you need to use the tool which is called page layout, and there is a function which is called orientation. You just click orientation and choose the landscape rather than portrait. So this spreadsheet will be changed to your landscape mode like this. Okay, so this is all for the first part. We need to do some computation and change the landscape mode of the spreadsheet, which is called flow shop sales. So let's come into our second spreadsheet, which is called gradebook. For this text, what we want to do is to decide the grade for the points of each student. For example, if Bob got 90 points for this exam, he will got an A. So the lookup table for letter grade is presented within the spreadsheet, which is called grades. So we need to use this table for lookup operation. So for this grade, we need to just assign and use this lookup table to decide and set the letter grade for Bob and other students. So the function we need to use is VLOOKUP. So I will show you how to use this function. For the cell of C2, we need to just type equal to VLOOKUP. This is a function. So this function is intended for looking for a value in the leftmost column of the table, and then returns a value in the same row from a column you specify. By default, the table must sort it in an ascending order. Okay, so this every time when you type a function, the software will automatically remind you how this is this function used for. So This is the functionality of VLOOKUP. And for VLOOKUP function, we have four inputs. The first is lookup value, uh, which is B2, right? And second is the table array. So the table array is within grids, and the range is from A4 to B8. I will show you this. Let us first finish this function. And the column index of number, which is 2, which means that we would like to show the values within the second columns. Okay, and next is true, uh, which is intended for appropriate match. And just press tab. Yeah, it presents the right uh, letter grade for 90 points. So, I will explain this function once again. So the range for the lookup table is another spreadsheet, which is called grids, and the range is from A4 to B8, and the range is fixed, so that's why we use the dollar symbol. Within the spreadsheet, which is called grids, the range is from A4 to B8. Okay, and we use autofill to fill in the letter grids for other students. Next, we would like to just compute the average, median, mean, and max of the cells. So this one equal to average. The range is from B2 to B12. And this one equal to median. Range is the same. This one is max. And the next function is mean. Okay? Okay, so we cannot compute the average for A, B, C, D, these characters. So we would like to merge these two cells. If you look at the toolbar, you will see an icon which is called merge and center. You can just click this. Okay, and for this one, which is the same. And also, you can just add some borders to some comments and notes. Right here, you can choose the area you would like to add borders. And right here, within the toolbar, you can see an icon which is called borders. The icon is like a table or something. Choose this, and you can choose the bottom border, top border, and you can add all the borders automatically, and you can just add the outside borders or inside borders. You can choose whatever you want. You can also choose the line color and line style, and also the line weights. Okay, so for this, we just choose all borders. So this is how we add the borders. Okay. So the next job we would like to do is to just resort those columns and rows. We would like to sort this area according to the grid in the descending order. So we would like to first put Karen in the first place and then Maria in the second place. So the first thing we need to do is select the area to be sorted, and then choose the function which is called sort and filter. Right here, can you see this? Okay, just click this. Because right now we can not automatically sort this area, we need to use the custom sort to set our sorting settings. So just click custom sort. So we click sort by grid and sort on the cell values. and the order is from Z to A, which is the descending order. And we click OK. Sorry, it should be A to Z. Sorry, we would like to sort based on the points, uh, and which is the largest to smallest. Sorry about this mistake. So we would like to sort this area based on the column which is called points, and we sort on the cell values, and order is largest to smallest. Okay. So we got our result. The first one is Karen, and second is Maria, and the one with the worst points is Ines. Okay, so this is how we use the sort function. And after the sort for based on the points, and we can add some conditional format to this area. For example, for students with a grade of A, we can use the red color to differentiate them like this. We choose a light red. Okay. And for students with a grade of B or C, we use the light blue to differentiate. And for students which is uh, worse than C, we use a different color to differentiate the students from other students. So this is the conditional formatting. Okay. So before we finish this part, I will leave one task to each one of you. I didn't add a comment for each grade. Uh, so the task you need to do is to just also use the VLOOKUP function and to add the comment for the grade. Um, the lookup table for grade comment is shown within the spreadsheet called grids, and the area is from A13 to B14. So you need to change this area to grids on A13 to B14, and the others should be also the same. I will leave this task as a quiz for this recitation, and if you can and use the form I will upload to Canvas, you need to fill in this code, which is VLOOKUP and with the right parameters within this function, and you need to submit this one line code to use this function correctly, and I will give you one extra point for this quiz. Okay. So this is the end for the second part, which is the computation for gradebook and grades. Okay, for the third part, our task is to complete this spreadsheet, which is called loans. So you need to switch the loans worksheet. And the first job is to compute the annual percentage rate. We also need to use the VLOOKUP function. The lookup table for the annual interest rate is right here from D4 to E6. Okay, so the function here is VLOOKUP, and the lookup value is F9, and the table array, which is D4 to E8. And the column index number is also 2. Okay, so we just press tab. And right here, we use the autofill to fill in the next following items. Okay, so the second task is to compute monthly payment for this column. If we would like to compute the monthly payment, we don't need to write our equation for compute this. We can use a very simple function which is called PMT. Right here, the reminder is that PMT calculates the payment for a loan based on constant payments and a constant interest rate. Okay, so the parameter, the input parameters is first the rate, and the second is the number of payment periods, and the third is the present value. Okay, but right now we have a problem is that for the function of PMT, the second input should be the number of the first input should be the interest rate, but this rate for input should be the monthly interest rate rather than the yearly interest rate. But right now, for this column APR, we compute the annual interest rate, which is not correct. It's very easy to convert the annual interest rate to monthly interest rate. We just divide this interest rate by 12. Okay. And also we can use another method to convert them. We can just convert the number of periods. We can just use uh, this. We can just multiply the number of years by 12, which will realize the same converting. Okay. So the computation for the monthly payment, which is very easy. So the first parameter should be the monthly interest rate, which is G9. Divide G9 by 12. 12 is within this cell, which is B5. Because we would like to fix this parameter for this function, so we need to also use the dollar symbol, which is B5. Okay, so the second parameter is number of periods. It should be 25 years, which is E9 times the number of months within 1 year, which is 12. And also we need to fix 12, so we need to use B5. Okay, so, sorry, which should be F9. And the next input parameter is the present value. We would like to present this value within D9. D9. The second input parameter should be the amount financed, which is the loan the bank loaned to us. So it should be D9. Okay, so we press tab to test whether the computation is correct. I believe that the computation is correct for this. The monthly payment, it should be $3,869. We use autofill to fill in the next following items. The last task is to compute the loan amount, the monthly insurance. The monthly insurance should be equal to loan amount times monthly insurance rate. The monthly insurance rate is within the cell of B6. The rate is 0.55%. Okay, so for the computation for monthly insurance, the equation should be E9 times B6. B6 should be fixed over B5. Because the insurance rate is the annual rate, and we would like to convert it into the monthly rate. Okay, so it should be B6 over B5, and we use D9 to times this. we press tab, and we use autofill to fill in next computations. So I think that's all for this recitation 11. Let's do a quick review for this. Today we talk about many functions which is used in the spreadsheets. So the first function is the function called if. We use if to decide if the value is bigger than or smaller than something, we present a value within the cell. And secondly, we talk about um, a function which is called VLOOKUP. We set some lookup table, and if the value is within the range of the lookup table, we will present some values within our cells. And also we use a sort function to sort and put the area into the descending order, and we set the conditional formatting for the rows. We also use a function which is called PMT to compute the monthly payment. Okay, so that's all for recitation 11. For the attendance record, the question should be, what is the favorite animal of Weizhi? Let me repeat once again for the attendance question. What is the favorite animal for Weizhi? And the answer is panda. The answer is panda. Okay, so that's all for today. Bye.